Hello and welcome to the probably the final episode of Meg and Mike, maybe the second last, although Meg's not here. But we just got out of our final three tribal council where April, oh, that's my spreadsheet, where April was given the ability, because she won, they earned the right to choose who between Graham and John she wanted to take to the final two with her. She went with the expected decision, but she gave us a lot of good reasons for it. She chose Graham, which means we are here now with John, who was eliminated, and his first actual vote against of the whole game in his 22nd tribal council. John, welcome. How does it feel to be eliminated right at the end here?
It was okay because I knew it wasn't really a vote. The way you said at the end was a vote against me. It could have also been a vote for, right? So
yeah,
that's the way I see it. You know, she voted for, and like she's playing to win, right? I don't think, like from what I get from you guys, and even when I was talking to Jordan, I was like, man, Jordan, I know you're not coming this whole way to come in third again. Like I know on paper it sounds great. You know, your dad probably loves like, oh my gosh, everybody's it's an all hands
so happy.
But yeah. At the end of the day, like I know, like at least from what you've told me about April and even hanging out with Jordan, you know, Graham seems a bit more stoic or a bit more easygoing, but I'm pretty sure that fire to win is still all there. So I know, like, yeah, I know, like, whoever wins is not like, oh, I came second to you. Like, it's not going to be one of those, like, oh, I want to come in second. Like, nobody really, I don't see, like, the people that were all left in the game. I wasn't playing for second place. We're all playing to win.
Yeah.
So I think that was in her decision, right?
Do you think she made the right decision, though?
I think she did.
In terms of giving her the better chance to win?
For sure. I think, like, obviously, like, just from my interactions with the people and people saying they were cheering me on, like, they didn't tell me I would vote for you, but when they say they're cheering you on, you sort of assume they have your vote. So I think I had, like, 5, at least give or take 5 locked up. And this is not like trying to talk about the game. You know what I mean? This is just from my own personal interaction.
Oh, yeah. No, of course.
The 3 bastards, and I think there was a few more. But yeah, I think I had like 5 locked up. So it's really those other 2 or 3. I think she had 5 locked up too. So it would have been like literally coming down to those last 3 votes, right? And I think the threat of Graham saying that thing at the end probably, you know what I mean? I think because she would assume that would be her vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, but at the end of the day, I think she also, like she said it right there at the beginning of the video where she said, Graham's talked to everyone, right? So it's really the perception of the game. And I thought the whole exile thing, like, oh, you're coming back from exile, would have worked against them. But I don't know. From what I've been hearing, it might not come against them, right? So I think it just depends how everybody sees the game. And I think that's just where everybody is. So I think she made the right choice. Just because, like, if she brings me, that means I have no votes against me. I've gone to the most tribals, right? I think that's a pretty good resume. So
agreed. So how long have you been watching the Survivor TV show for? Since the beginning, or
only since because no sports. So I just picked it back up because of sports. So like I've seen like the first few seasons back, and then it's ironically without sports, I started watching a bit on YouTube again or like some clips. My wife's like, "Why are you watching this?" I was like, "I don't know. Maybe the whole Survivor Hamilton's rubbing off on me." But I literally watched every episode of the last 2 seasons because like when sports was canceled, On Demand had last season, so I watched that, and then this season was like the All-Star season. So I was like, "Man, these are all people who know what's going on. They're not like noobs like trying to figure this game out. They've all won $1 million, so they're not playing for like they've been around, right?" So,
well, and the returning season, Winners at War, was actually pretty good, but the one before that was like one of the worst seasons of the show I've ever watched. It was terrible. So, what did you think overall? What did you think? Obviously, it's the first time you've played, but you've heard a lot of it from the Bastards. Like, what did you think? Just overall, you know.
So it's funny because after I made it through on the weekend, I was just thinking about this whole experience, and I thought about like some of the comments people have said in played and even in these game overs, And honestly, when I first started playing that first week, and you can ask David Morris this, but it was like, man, we are not cut out for this game. Within the first week, we were not cut out for this game. And Chris was just like, John, talk to everyone. And I was like, this is weird. Like, I'm talking to strangers. And then I think all of us, like when I look back at it, I was even, because Dave even said it today in his game over, or the one yesterday. And I was like, just messaged him. And I thought about it. I was like, us on OG Navala, we weren't ready to play. We weren't ready to play. Like, even that whole sentiment where it's like, I want to play an honest game. I think we honestly believe that. We honestly believe that we could have played an honest game. And the only person that talked to everybody was Wayne. Like, I look back at it. I would talk to like all the people that I was with. I was like, do you talk to the Hamiltons? No. And then Hamiltons are like, do you talk to those guys? So like, obviously they're not talking to half the group. So then it was like, and then hearing all the stories and everybody talking to everybody, I was like, man, we are totally not prepared to play this game. So when I joined, I didn't really know what to expect. Literally, I was the one who said, all right, James, if you sign up, and Dave, if you sign up, I'll play. Like, and then James was like, okay, there it is. And then I was like, crap. So I signed up.
Dude.
And then Dave was like the last guy. Chris was like, yo, Chris was telling like, Dave, get your thing in right away. And then we all got in. So it was funny because I told Dave that he actually got voted out. I was like, okay, Dave, if you're gone, I don't want to play this game. Like, this is stupid. I can't, like, I don't know anyone. And the merge is no time soon. Like, it was like the third vote, right? So I was like, there's no way a merge is coming. So when he said in the video that he's like, I want John gone next, he sort of did that for me on purpose. Cause I was like, I'll be free. I don't gotta play this scheming game. And then the whole Wayne thing flipped around. This happened, and then I ended up with the Bastards.
Well, it was funny you mentioned no one really knowing how to play or what they were getting into on Navala, but like the two people who were playing the hardest were Wayne and Ruth. And Wayne had Cowan in his ear, and Ruth had extensive conversations with Meg about what the game entails, and also had Sasha in there, and they were both ready to stir things up a little bit. And so it was interesting, the experience that they brought in. Like, they were the ones willing to do the dirty work and do what they needed to do, and everyone else was just trying to catch up. How frustrating was it to lose all those challenges, considering you especially were somebody who kind of picked it up quickly and did start to perform? You and Ian started to perform really well in those challenges.
I just, like, it was frustrating, but like, you're up against a juggernaut, right? Like, these guys know what to do. Like, even if one of us could get the answer, can we get a second guy to get the answer? And we weren't prepared. So after like the first like 3 or 4, I was like, there's no way we can win these. Like, we have to hope that John House doesn't show up again, or they make the wrong mistake. But if we play a dead even game, and because we didn't also have those like type A guys on our team that were like, okay, this is the way we're doing it. You know, this is the way we have to do it. Like, everybody would be like, okay.
You didn't have a Chelsea over there. You didn't have a Chelsea over there to tell everyone what to do.
Yeah, rein us in, say, okay, this is what we're doing. You know, like they were telling me the stuff that was going on in Kobara, like spreadsheets, this plan that. And I was just like, it just got to the point where it's like, okay, let's just try to survive. And if like I just assumed we were gonna lose. I assumed we were gonna lose. I just assumed we were gonna lose.
Well, there were some really close ones that were like heartbreaking for me, especially for you guys too, but for me as well, because I really wanted to see them Kobara lose, and it was so close a couple times. So you hitched your horse to Ruth, Sasha, and Sharon, and did you basically just let them run with what they wanted to do for those weeks?
Well, we were all involved with it, right? And then it's funny because I think a few weeks ago I was talking to Sasha, and she's like, "I'm cheering you on. Exile's cheering you on, or whatever." And I was like, "I don't know if I can get April. Like, she's just so strong, or she's always protected." And I made a joke with Sasha. I was like, "You guys wanted Damien," and Dave said it in his video the other day too, because I was like, "Are you sure you guys want April?" And they're like, "No, we want Damien." And I was like, "Come on, guys, like let's go April." But everybody was so set on Damien because I think he just caused them so much headaches. And then from that point on, we couldn't get her the rest of the time. You know, she voted Jim out, and then she had the idol. But it was just, I told April that the other day. I was like, we tried to get you, and then they all wanted Damien. I was like, come on, guys. Like, April's the one, but lo and behold.
Yeah, that was an emotional, non-strategic decision.
Yeah.
Nobody thought, because if Damien was already shooting himself in the foot, like there's no way he's going to win the game.
Yeah, and it just, yeah. It was,
okay,
it was
you learned
fun.
something. Yeah. You learned something there for next time, if you're ever allowed to do it next time. You know, what is your wife thought about this whole thing, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy is she going to be that it's over now?
Well, it's not over because I still got to go to all these other things, and technically I played the whole way. Like literally, I played the whole way.
Yeah, on Sunday. How happy will she be on Sunday?
She'll be happy. It's sort of funny. She saw that Elliott video when they were all trying to get back into the game, and we've met Allison, Elliott's girlfriend, but pretty much we met her, and she was like, she felt sorry for her right then and there. She's like, this guy left. She was probably the happiest person in the world, and then this happened, and then she found out Elliott quit after 3 days, and I think it's just been a wild ride. I think it was frustrating at times, just there's so much time investment. And then I would say something for you next time, man, just put it like a $10 prize, like a $10 like registration fee. Cause at least it could be like, what do you win? I was like, I win nothing. Right. And she was like, man, if everybody put in $10, that's 300, right? You could do something, right?
And I appreciate that. And I think part of what I thought is I didn't know at the beginning how invested everyone would get. You know what I mean? Because last time, the level of investment went up way more this time than it was last game. Last game, you basically had half the players who really care, the other half didn't care. And I was like, if that happens again, I'm not going to get money from everybody, right? And then I'm only getting money from some people. And I think now I know for sure. But you're not winning anyway. But we'll take care of April or Graham a little bit. But that's a great idea. Just like what do they call them? Like one of those raffles at the 50-50 draws or whatever, right? Where some of it goes to the production, everything else goes to the winner. I'm sure that's a great idea. So just going back to the game, when you went to Navala, be honest, did the four of you, because there were 7, just say, okay, well, the 4 of us are making the merge?
I don't know.
That simple? Did you even entertain Graham, Amanda, Andre, Dave?
I think initially we didn't, and then Chris, we talked about it. We were like, you know what, it would be smart to branch off. So Graham was always the other connection. Chris was working with Graham from the beginning. There's the whole thing where like, oh, Peter's the one on the way out. I never believed that. So that was more like, I would say as long as it wasn't me, right? I would sort of go with it. But I think we had to entertain the idea. James almost got Peter voted out. He didn't tell you that, but he almost voted Peter in the first one when we voted Andre 7 or 6-1 or whatever. James almost said, I'm going to throw one on Peter. I was like, no, you can't do that. Then we lose control of the tribe, you dumbo.
Yeah,
but
too early. Yeah.
I think, like Peter said, and even Chris said, and James said, like we weighed the pros and cons of it, and it just didn't make sense. Like only Graham could like give us something where it's like, there was that trust, and he could give us something more than just, oh, I'll vote with you the rest of the way, right? Like that doesn't really get us anywhere.
Right. So there was a moment after Peter went home that you had Paul and Jordan, and you maybe had Graham too, that was going to be on your side. So how involved were you with that in that stage? And then I said, because that was kind of quickly pulled away, but it was basically, it felt like your chance to take over to the end.
I wasn't really involved. It was funny because I remember that night, April was messaging me and she was like, did you hear any Survivor talk? And I was like, honestly, no. And she thought I was like straight lying to her face. And I was like, no. And then it wasn't until and then even Graham messaged me and I was like, man, I have no idea what's going on. And then it wasn't until that night that I talked to Chris and I was like, oh, this thing sort of blown up.
Drama.
Yeah, like a lot of things that, there's a lot of hearsay or this, that. And so Yeah, I wasn't really involved. I think, like April said, or people have said, like I just stuck with my alliance. Aside from the Sharon vote, but um, yeah, but I thought about the game, and uh, you're not asking us that question all the time, like, oh, are the bastards going to leave the train, or are they going to ever leave? It's always a leading question, and I think it got people angry. But when I look back at it, everybody that had an alliance before the merge stuck with that alliance. Like
Yeah, the only couple people. There was a couple people. Yeah,
like the people that played the middle, Paul, Jordan, and Graham, but everybody else, and Chris took the one person that blew the whole game up, right? I think him taking Chelsea, then Sharon went to Kyle, Kyle then naturally went to Dunkel, right? And then you started trying to figure out the rest. But if you look at almost everybody's game minus Paul, Jordan, and Graham, I think everybody stuck to their alliance, right?
So you obviously had Chris on your side, who was very active and not necessarily make the decision. He talked to you about everything, but you had somebody like that who was really active. If you didn't have someone like that, do you think you had it in you to be that active in the game? I know you didn't know as many people as he did, but like, do you think you had it in you, or that was just probably too much of an ask for you to put more effort into the game than you already did?
I don't know if I had it in me. I think also because, like I said, everybody made their like alliances before, right? So they had that time to like practice. I mean, they had that time to grow that relationship, to show where your vote's going to be. So with the bastards, it was just like, okay, those are my four, right? Like those are the people that I'm going to roll the rest of the game with. And then when I came out, there was April, and then I was making jokes with April all throughout the game. I was like, why are we always on the opposite side? Like, no matter what you do or what I do, we always be never working together. And then Ruth was here, and then she was the wild card. And then even with the Sharon vote, it was just, we can rehash the Sharon vote, but pretty much.
Yeah, well, we should, because that was the one time you got called out.
Yeah, I think if I were to go back, now what I know, maybe I'd have an open conversation with Sharon about it. The thing is that I didn't want to tell her what the plan was, because if it was just me throwing 4 votes on her, it wouldn't have been made a difference, right? But I felt like if I told her the plan, I would have been sewered in my own game. It wasn't so much trying to save Peter as much as I would have lost the trust of Chris, James, Paul, Jordan, and Graham, and I felt like that was my thought at the time. Looking back at it, maybe I would have had an open conversation, like, okay, Sharon, if I do this, will you take me, kind of thing, or will I be like, am I going to be like left in the middle, right? And like even Kyle said in his game over, like there wasn't really any repercussions with me voting her out because people wanted her out, right? But I felt like if I came up to her, it would have been like, it would have sewered a lot of people's plans, and then. But that's just my thinking, looking back at it now. It wasn't so much to say.
You mentioned earlier on the last video, I think, that just not on this video, that April was somebody who you kind of wish you would have voted out earlier in the game, because you had that opportunity. Was there anybody after the merge that you really wanted to vote out early that because of the different relationships and alliances you weren't able to, and they ended up getting further and impacting who was still around at the end here?
Not really. I think it happened organically, and I'm here, right? Like, I think when Graham came back, April was probably in the best position in the game. She had, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like Jordan and Graham won't vote for her, and then she had her Ulu alliance that won't vote for her, so she was literally protected.
Kyle had,
like there was that whole group, so you could never get enough. And it just got really dicey because, like, even the whole Chris trying to vote Kyle, or like, would that happen? Right? It finally happened through an idol, but we technically didn't get the numbers to get Kyle out.
Yeah.
So it was just like always those relationships where it's like, can you get enough people to throw it on them? And a lot of times we couldn't.
So about a week ago, you had an option of setting up a tie between Brian and James, I guess. And you didn't vote for Brian. Did James give you a really hard time about that? And what was that decision about? And do you regret that decision? Obviously, you're still here. Like, you still had your chance anyway. But, you know, was that a missed opportunity to get Brian out then and still have James around?
Well, it would have gone to Rocks, right? I think I was just tired of playing the game there. Like, as soon as Chris left, but I was just like tired, and I gave Brian my word, and I was like, okay, you know what? If maybe I was stupid or naive to think that, so I gave him my word, and I told James even at 4:00, and even Jordan, I was like, guys, I'm not switching the vote. This is where it is. If I go home today, I'm 100% okay with it. 100%. And then Brian thought I was sewering him, thought I was sort of lying the whole way, and I was like,
and they voted James out.
Well, and I know why they voted James, because they're scared of the idol. They're scared that I had the idol, and then if it goes to Rocks, they don't want me safe. They want James safe, right? So it actually backfired on them, or backfired on Brian, because then he's now gone, right? I mean, like he would have won that challenge. He would have won that challenge.
Were there any votes throughout the season that you really enjoyed? Kind of anybody you eliminated that felt really good, and that was, you know, it's not a personal thing. You know, it's not a personal thing. Just any votes that maybe you worked hard on or that really paid off for you.
Not really. I think, like I said, we were just mostly hanging out with Chris and just sort of playing the game the way it was. I think it was sort of ironic at the end that the two ride or dies had to vote each other, right? I think Brian and April. I think that was because Jordan and me knew we were on the outs, right? So me winning the immunity and then Jordan winning the idol. I think that was like sort of just funny, if you were to say. But like I said, it wasn't like I forced that on them, right? So I think it was just sort of to see sort of happen.
And that was a huge week, right? That was a huge vote. You and Jordan both being safe. You both earned that. You know, then you had the decision just to side with Brian or side with April and Graham. Obviously, you couldn't have anticipated that April would win the last two challenges, but she did. And so, was that a pretty tough decision for you, or was it pretty easy to vote Brian out that time?
It was the right decision. It was the right decision. I don't see us, just from talking to him, and he's like, half the time he's being busy. So I think this week he would have like ponied up and like sat at his computer and been ready for it. And I figured, like, I was even talking to April. I was like, I hope Mike just tells us when this thing is today. And you did, right? Like, I think, like, and the way you made it, like, you knew it was not going to be like it's like an open-ended kind of thing. It wasn't like, you know, time was obviously important, but it wouldn't be the biggest factor. So we sort of knew that. So at the end of the day, Brian has proven when there's 30 people playing the game that he's winning these challenges and winning these rewards. Those are the ones you got to be sort of scared of, or just track record. Not to take anything away from Graham or April, like they're just as good. Right. But like I said, I worked with April. I know she's she gets it right, but she's a bit slower, right? Like that's just her game, right? So even I was telling her, like, just play your game, don't try to rush. Like, but I knew Brian was always like he won so many challenges and rewards, right?
Yeah. No, it's fair. I completely understand. I think I would have made that decision as well, in that position. Which way, you know, I know it's early, you still have some time for your decision. Are you leaning a certain way for April or Graham already, just based on your experience playing with them both?
No, I just want to sort of see what they have to say, how they perceive their game. I think everybody has their perception of their games. I want to see how much the whole coming back from exile and what the jury thinks about it. Because I've told you, like, okay, if like somebody comes back from exile, I don't think they deserve to win, but it's a different game, right?
It's such a long game too. You kind of have to have some twists.
Yeah, so like in the show, they don't come back till the end, right? So like literally all this stuff happens and they come back to like the final 6. Graham came back at the final 13, you know, so it wasn't like he cakewalked his way to the final end. I guess for me, like, I would honestly say they're like, I want to hear what they have to say, how they perceive their own games, and just how they sort of sell themselves.
And that'll certainly be interesting, right? Because there's one way the jury can vote is just based on their own perceptions, but they could also just say, hey, you got to sell me. You know what I mean? I want to understand. I want to see how you perceive your own game, where you think your good moves were and your mistakes, and then I'll decide once I have all that information, because you can't know everything that April did and know everything that Graham did in the game. Like, they're going to have to tell you. So again, like, I'm super disappointed that you came this long and you didn't make it in the very end, but you had your shot and it was close, super close in the end, the last challenge. But you had some great moments here. Anything you want to add at all?
I think just first and foremost, like, man, thanks a lot for this, Mike. You know, it was cool reconnecting and just this awesome game that you have. I didn't think I would be this involved, you know, watching random YouTube videos or podcasts of people talking about their own strategies. So you've done a great thing here. Yeah, like you said, I had my shot, and I think that was the best part about it, was that I didn't get voted out. You know what I mean? Like, I had the shot to win yesterday. I just choked it. You know, like, I'm pretty sure if I get it, I win. I'm just because of I have to win 3 challenges to get in. I won. I would have to, and I think she sort of saw that, and I didn't win it. So I think that's so close.
Well,
but
it's fair that it's cool that you can put it on your own back and say, you know what I mean? It's kind of your own responsibility there. Jordan did the same thing the other day, right? Where he was like, I had the chance to win, I didn't, and that's that. So, I mean, awesome. Any TV shows or movies or anything like that you want to, or books you want to suggest that we watch?
I read a book. I read a lot of leadership books. So I read Deep Work by Cal Newport. It's just about how to get more work done. I also, there's a book by, I think it's Ryan Hawk. It's the brother of AJ Hawk. He's got a podcast it's about leadership. So I like a lot of podcasts where they're interviewing people. So I'd say that's where I really enjoyed reading that podcast over the time.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday.
For sure, man.
Probably been for many years back since we canceled a cabin together.
It's true.
My first week at a LIT, I think that was maybe first or second, man. So that was a lifetime ago. But man, it's been so good to reconnect with you.
For sure.
And it'll be fun to see you and all the boys at the barbecue on Saturday, and hopefully we'll stay connected. Okay.
For sure, man.
All right, man. Well, take care. Enjoy the day off tomorrow, and and we'll see you on Friday and Saturday.
Thanks, Mikey. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Yeah. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.